34-0 at the half. And Stephen, it was as the score indicates, a completely dominating first half. I think it was 312 to 64 in total offense. What stood out to you?
Well, the performances of the offensive stars for Louisville. I mean, Overstreet, he got him going a little bit late in this game, but he already has 87 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Skeleton P. Funk, 213 yards passing and 1 touchdown. But amazingly, the time of possession is pretty equal. 12 minutes and 46 seconds for Louisville, 9 minutes and 9 seconds for Queen City, but Louisville's just done more with what they've had.
So the start of the third quarter, Louisville does kick off to Queen City, which is a blessing, I guess, for the Corsairs as they lose the football to start the second half. And we'll see if Daniel Garcia, who's been to the championship game in both of his seasons in the league, let's see if he can go out there, and if he can't get a win, at least put some pride out there on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's still time in this game. Obviously, if you can get up 34 and a half, you can come back to 34 and a half. But yeah, we need to see a spark. We need to see something right now out of this Queen City Corsairs offense.
5 wide, and Garcia fires it short out to Blake Legacy. And, hey, that's all right. Picks up 6 yards, and it's more than Queen City can say for most of the first half.
You know, it's been a bad game when a 5-yard out route and complete is we're saying such glowing things about.
Second and 4 from the Cheetah, 36-yard.
10:50. You know, I completely just blanked right there. The fatigue is real.
Setting in. Yeah.
Second and 4. 10:43 to go in the third. You could have said something bad about my mother, and I would not have responded. I don't know what happened there, folks. A loss of 3, third down and 7. I tell you what, Rick O'Reilly, man, I mean, he is really, from start to finish, made his mark on this game off the stat sheet and on.
Not a real big fan of that play there, Cam. The delayed kind of toss out to the right. Any type of delay, you're just giving Riley more time.
Yeah, you got to attack, and you got to know exactly what you're doing because, I mean, it's just giving him more time to get active and get involved. That pass is knocked down. Lucius Sanders having one of his best games of the season. 3 and out, Queen City, and it's more of the same.
Well, I think they're just doing everything wrong. It's counterculture. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you know O'Reilly's coming, you know you're going to have to get the ball out quick. You're not needing to throw long. You need to try to attack the middle of the field, something short, or even get Haynes involved. Although they've tried to do that and kind of pretty much failed, but. It just seems like everything's going wrong.
I go back to something that Marty RX said on the Inside the SFL podcast about NYC. What in fact the Sabres' identity was this year on offense, and was that sort of a side effect of their bad offense? It was that they didn't have an identity, and to the point about Queen City. Very pass heavy there for a long time. Didn't really get Haynes going at all. Shea-Tovich was a huge part of the offense. And all of a sudden, Haynes gets super involved, and then Shea-Tovich disappears. What exactly did they want to do this season? And what exactly went wrong, I think, is really the main storyline of the defending champion season.
Well, I thought it started last season, Cam, when they were a potent passing offense, even though they had arguably the best running back in football in Parkey Chol.
They were incredible.
They were, and then it made sense. It worked. They get rid of Parkey Chol in the offseason, and they look to be that passing offense again, and then it just didn't work the way that it did before, so they turned to their number 1 pick, and they've had mixed results, but they're in the playoffs because of it. It's just here, pass, run, defense. I mean, just absolutely nothing's working. And you know what, Queen City, you're not alone. A lot of teams in the SFL have struggled the exact same way, including my Dallas Roughnecks.
It's a really good analysis, I think, of their season. I think finds the only hole in the defense on that play, as it looked like Queen City had it wrapped up pretty good. As we take a look at this replay, It was a great kick block by the fullback right there.
I think, going back and talking about Queen City and trying to find the identity of the team, I think it was kind of a lost identity thing. I think they knew who they were. They obviously had a championship. They knew what they wanted to do. That change at running back might have had a bigger influence on the team than they expected. But they went away from what worked for them, and because it wasn't working in the immediate, in some of the games this season, they needed to turn the ship, so they turned to the number 1 pick. But man, tonight it's just nothing's working.
And Queen City, that championship game performance against Houston, I think was of all of the 6 championships in SFI, I don't remember a more bafflingly good showing. I mean, they were literally unstoppable, and we have just not ever seen that out of anyone in a title game. And it was just a pleasure to be there in person watching it.
Right, and it's a little bit ironic that they can perform so well and kind of make Houston feel how they must feel right now. Just kind of powerless.
Yeah, good knock away there. Pass intended for D.B. Ritter. It's 3rd down and 10, and obviously Queen City's just looking for any sort of positives here as this game ticks on. 10:45 on the East Coast, and we're trying to get things going as quick as possible. I don't think we're going to be able to have a post-game show tonight. I'm sure inside the SFL will take care of that, just because we got to get Stephen shipped back up and on the road here in post-game. And I think by the end of this one, I'm not sure how many people are going to be with us tonight anyway. Good sack there by Queen City. Forces the 4th down, and Louisville will have to punt it away.
Yeah, well, and I know we talked about the tiny victories. There's one right there, but yeah, you got the feeling if there's going to be even a chance to mount some type of comeback, you've got to see something quickly. And this Louisville defense has just been
from the 23-yard line. Caswell decent return up to the 27, and it'll be 1st down and 10 for Queen City. So it appears that Louisville is going to keep their undefeated record intact. Obviously, there is one other team that has finished a season undefeated. That was the season 4 Minneapolis Maulers, who ironically are still in the playoffs this season. Wouldn't it be something if Minneapolis and Louisville was the title game, with the team that previously finished undefeated and won a title, and the team that's currently trying to do it? You just start to get the ball rolling. Haynes gets a 1st down, and they're really quite fascinating.
Well, I think even whether it's Minneapolis or Orlando or Dallas or Louisville, they're intriguing storylines all the way through. With Orlando, with the win tonight, we talked about their heckling. See, I'm getting fatigued too, man. Jekyll and Hyde type of play. Obviously, kind of just a chaotic game tonight. Who are we going to see? Who are they going to be against Minneapolis? But if Minneapolis and Louisville get into the championship game, and it should be called the Mastermind Classic, because these are probably the 2 best play calling owners, coaches in the league, and it's going to be an epic chess match. If they get to the final.
Hey, let's give a shout out to all the people who are still rolling with us on this broadcast, right? How about that? SFL Facebook showing up. T.E. Haynes showing up in his 3rd quarter, breaks away, 40, 30, and Haynes down to the 27-yard line, starting to break some tackles. I mean, Queen City's going to have to do a lot for us to get too excited about a potential comeback, but a good start there from Haynes.
They've been sowing the seeds of this. They've been pounding the rock since the first half, a ton unsuccessfully. Here it finally starts to pay off. Hopefully not, probably a case of too little, too late, but good to see.
Yeah, and these 2 running backs in the last 4 weeks, T.E. Haynes has actually had a better performance, 7.55 yards per carry. He has been awesome for Queen City as Garcia fires it outside and throws an incomplete pass, and that's why I think we probably expected to see a lot of Haynes tonight.
Yeah, and well, and should still. I mean, the guy has been their best offensive weapon, even when he's been stopped in the backfield. They just can't really get anything going. I think their plan was from the very beginning that they were going to gash Louisville with the run, and this Louisville defense has just been able to plug those holes.
Queen City is in scoring position. Daniel Garcia back to pass against a four-man rush. Fires it outside. Pass caught by 15 down to the 13-yard line. And Queen City's in the red zone.
That's good. This is their best offensive series this game. Boy, look at that. They're starting to get Howland involved. This is what we wanted to see from them from the beginning. It's just a shame that it's just started so late, but let's see if they can get. They need to get in this end zone here. Let's see if they can get a little talk going about, a little momentum going their way.
Stephen, AJ picked 6 in the chat. He wanted to let you know you were doing a crap job. No, he said you're doing great. So just want to let you know.
It's been a long day.
6:35 to go in the third, and Garcia's looking for somebody open. Can't find anybody. Check out to Haynes, and wow, Lucius Sanders, Billy Joe Gatlin there initially making the tackle. That is not easy to do.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I tell you what, though, but the confidence that you give your defenders when your offense is playing so well. I mean, I think it just goes hand in hand that each has uplifted the other in this game, and goodness, just showing us the reason why they're Louisville.
2nd and 10, 2 in the backfield. The handoff goes to Haynes. He's got some room left side, and quickly Louisville closes Charlie Monk there on the tackles. You get an updated look at Haynes' numbers. It'll be 3rd down and 7. They were talking about it in the chat earlier tonight. Charlie Monk, he's an underrated player of this secondary too, and I'm sure that probably I don't, and people around the league don't really give this Louisville secondary enough credit.
No, and he's going to be a hot prospect this offseason. A lot of these Louisville stars will be, but Monk might be near the top of the list on the defensive side of the ball. There should be plenty of teams clamoring for his services next season.
Yeah, Monk obviously a user player, a fairly active one, and he, he's had a good start. It's exciting to see potential opportunities like that. Those guys playing for jobs out there.
Well, yeah, and he's playing for, he's probably not even thinking about that right now. He's thinking about getting to the championship game. Wow.
Garcia's going to take it in himself. Touchdown, Queen City. The shutout is over. Nice little quarterback draw there or quarterback sneak rather for Queen City. They patented that play as they're running one of, if not the only team to run that in. And my apologies for putting up the extra point prematurely. It is 34-6.
Well, some good, solid halftime adjustments here. A nice series the core series were able to put together. Maybe a Hoosiers-style coach 'em up type of rah-rah speech maybe in the locker room. I don't know as a head coach what you say down by that many points into this team. But obviously they've done some good things here that they can kind of build on. Is it enough? Probably not. But it's good to see finally some life out of this Queen City offense.
So Louisville's up 34-7. There's 5:05. The bad news for Queen City is 6 minutes have already run off the third quarter clock, and they're going to need a lot of help from their defense here to turn things around. But, normally I wouldn't say that we've seen crazier things, but I think we have. We've seen crazier things, more crazy than a 34-point comeback.
Well, especially if it depends on when Louisville decides that they may want to pull their first teamers off in the fourth quarter at the start of the fourth.
Yeah, here we go.
And then here we go. But
right.
but I'm pretty sure they want to put it away. But we need to see this core. They've been asked to do so much. This core series defense. They've got to do more to get to allow them to get back into this game.
Bonk is still passing. Edie Ritter again. Short middle of the field. Short middle of the field. That's just what they do so well. Everyone looks at Louisville as the deep ball, but it's just that pocket. They really take advantage of that on a lot of teams.
Well, and you know what? They may focus there, but that's not the only area they've been successful. They've just all out successful everywhere. I feel like if you try to shut down the middle of the field with them, they would simply go the outside and probably have similar success.
As they do right there. Over street, he takes a good tackle on the outside. Of course, it's DJ McCoo. A pickup of 2 yards. Now, Steven, I got a question for you. You know, we had 3 teams, Santa Fe, Sioux Falls, Baltimore, favorites, sometimes heavy favorites at times, suffer devastating losses. In your opinion, which one was the most heartbreaking to watch?
It's got to be Sioux Falls for me. I just thought that they had such a great season this year. Even in their losses, they seem to be in the game. I love their setup, the way that they were set up, and they're coached well. You know that they're coming with a great game plan every week, from week in to week out. You know their owner works hard. You know their coaches work hard. Yeah, I thought that was the most heartbreaking to me, Sioux Falls.
Funk back to pass on 3rd down and 5. Oh, trying to take off and run and gets popped. And the Queen City's defense gets a 3 and out. It's a 4-yard loss. Skeletor P. Funk has been sacked 3 times tonight.
Yeah, and Seitzer's having the game of his life here. He had 2 sacks in the first half. There's another one to add there to the old belt there.
So 4th down 9. City is certainly making us think about all the insanity that we've seen in the first 3 games. And Skeletor P. Funk definitely had a lane there. Just couldn't find the hole. And Greg Caswell will go back and return this punt here, and we'll see what the Queen City can put together on offense at the 22-yard line. You feel like if things die out for the Corsairs here on this drive, you pretty much can put it to bed. But if they can get a score here, then
I know it sounds a little ridiculous to think it, but we've seen some good things here. I mean, there is time. I don't know if there's enough, but there's time left in this game for them to make it interesting for sure.
At least 3 receivers and 2 off to the left for the Corsairs. Garcia off the hands. Too fast for that blocker outside. Wait for your blocks.
Yeah, that's a rookie mistake. I mean, that's the thing when you exchange a veteran like Parkey Toll and you bring in a guy like Haynes, even though he's had a good season, a great second half of the season, and he's going to make some mistakes you've got to live with.
Still got 5 on the run, though, so give him credit for that. Down and 5. They're sticking with Haynes. Off the left side, and he picks up with just 1. 3rd down and 4 for Corsairs. Got to respect Queen City for trying to attack that last-ranked run defense.
Yeah, they see something. They went and they looked in the film study there. They think that they may have identified a weakness. Didn't really work well for them in the first half at all, but had some success with it here.
3rd down and 4. Big 3rd down here for the Corsairs. 4-2 look out of Louisville's defense. The corners are off. Haynes is going to get another carry. 3rd down. I like that call. 3 straight runs down 34-7. Seems like a wash.
Yeah, there's just they are too set in their ways right here. They had an initial plan, and it looks like they don't have a backup.
Yeah, and way too one-dimensional. I mean, we've got no inside runs at all. I mean, you're not even trying to mix it up. It's almost like you're poking the bear with all these stretches and counters that we're seeing out of Queen City, and all that is doing is extending the time and opportunity for Louisville to get in the backfield as you wait for the handoff on the stretch, as you turn around and do these are slow developing runs, and Louisville's all over it.
Seems like they're just not flexible with their game plan, Ken. They thought they saw something. They thought they figured out a way to be competitive with Louisville. When they found out that didn't work, they just are still doing the same.
Yeah, they don't have another. Wow, that pass is picked off. That's a Qantas Shine, I think. Nice spin move there by Shine. And hey, how about a Qantas Shine, the league's second leader in tackles? He gets a pick and shuts me up as Dede Ritter dropped that ball, and finally, Queen City's defense takes advantage.
What an athletic play. How many linebackers do you see that can make that kind of play, can deflect the ball and reach down as far as he did to grab the interception and run it as far as he did? We haven't talked a lot about Shine tonight. He finally shows up for them, and they needed it.
57 seconds to go in the third quarter. Queen City's in scoring position. 34-7, back to pass. Garcia out to Haynes. Haynes looking for some running room. It took him a long time to get going. Charlie Monk, 4 tackles, but a meaningful 4 tackles tonight.
What happened, Cam? What happened between this series and the last one? They looked like they were starting to get some things together.
They did.
3 straight runs, 3 and out. Interception kind of saves them here, and they another pass behind the line of scrimmage and stopped.
No Jake Legacy, no Shayatovich, nothing. They just can't get all their weapons involved. Garcia against a blitz. It is picked up, but Garcia's sacked anyway. And that will drag him out of field goal range. 3rd and 21, anemic offense.
Absolutely a coverage sack right there. Had all the time in the world. Garcia, one of the best running quarterbacks in this league, maybe the best. Got to have that clock go off in his end, that alarm clock, to take off and go for the run, trying to make a big play.
All receivers back to pass. They flip it off to Haynes on a 3rd down and long. I don't know who you're trying to fool here, and that's not even going to get him into field goal range. That's going to bring us to the end of the third quarter, and potential for some good things to happen at Queen City falls by the wayside. We'll be back here in a moment. Haynes is off the field. Queen City's punting. I don't think they even feel like they have an opportunity here to come back in the 4th now.
I would argue that at this point, going for it, your offense looks so anemic. Maybe they think they have a better chance with their defense that just came up with a big play.
Well, and 4th and 17 is rough, and this is a brilliant punt down to the 5-yard line. Maybe they can get something out of it, but if you can't get a 3rd and 3 or 4, you're not going to get a 4th and 17 probably.
Probably not.
So, setting back the stage, obviously Saturday, November 5th is the SFL Championship game. We want all of SFL Nation to be here. We're going to have 4 of us in the booth, Stephen and I, along with DeMont Simeon, owner of Houston, my father, Michael Irvine, owner of Oklahoma City, who probably wishing he could have a shot at Louisville in the postseason, although he barely couldn't get in. Overstreet's now over 100 yards, picks up 8, but whoever makes it out, and I'm sure Louisville will continue to, maybe even more so tonight, be the clear favorite, air quotes, to win the title. But whoever makes it there, it's going to be one special day.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Some great matchups that we'll have. This is the elite here. This is the best that the SFL has to offer in these games, and they're to the first part of the playoffs here. We've seen some terrific games, Cam. Some terrific competition, real SFL football. A little bit of a stinker right here, obviously, but it's only because Louisville has been like this for a majority of the season. I don't think anybody really expected much less from them. I think we expected more.
What a pass. Yeah, I would agree with you. I think we expected more out of the course there, not less from Louisville.
That's right. So if potentially moving forward here, we're talking about Louisville and Dallas. And Dallas, can Dallas's spread offense, right away? They couldn't during the regular season, but obviously they weren't using Mike Davis like they are now. They tried in vain last night to use Mike Davis, and Baltimore just stomped them. But they still made enough plays in the passing game. Davis did what he could to get the victory in a hard-fought game against Baltimore. Wolfpack, though, a whole other beast.
Yeah, Funk down the middle to Armstrong, and that smoke is working out there in Blue Sun tonight. Obviously, these fans are fired up. They potentially could host a playoff game with all the upsets that we saw in the first round. If Louisville does not host the playoff game, that responsibility would fall on Dallas. They would have the best record at 8-4, better than Minneapolis or Orlando. And lo and behold, the Maulers, are the big winners. They get to host a playoff game as the number 3 seed. Who would have thought that?
the storylines abound and exciting football to come for sure. But man, what a statement game tonight's matchup has been for Louisville. I mean, if you had any reservations about Louisville in the playoffs, this game might erase some of that for you.
8:20 to go in the fourth. Kirkland with the catch, picks up 5, brings up 3rd down and 1. And I think that some people were looking to, last week, Louisville looked really shaky against Carolina. Won 24-20 on the road. Just really, honestly, didn't really seem to care out there. Like, oh, we're going to just toy with them for a while, and then we're going to pull it out. But we've seen those games from Louisville before this season, and we've also seen blowouts like this one. And as Overstreet's not going to pick up the first down there, and Louisville's going to have to punt the ball away. But that's why I think some had some pause that maybe Louisville really is in fact beatable. And certainly the first 3 games of the postseason helped people believe that it was possible.
And probably falsely so. We just kind of were, I guess some of us at least seem to be blessed by the story of the underdog and kind of maybe got a little false hope that this could happen with Queen City as well. And you want it to be a competitive game. You want it to be. But Louisville is just so dominant.
Look at that punt down to the 1-yard line. I mean, Louisville has these games more than any other team where they literally can. It seems like they cannot make a mistake.
Yeah, and that's you're going to have to try to catch Louisville, and that's what Dallas is likely going to have to do next week, to try and catch them when they're having that off game, which an off game for them just means that it's competitive.
Go back to the beginning of this game, that pick 6, second, third play of the game. Nearly is dropped for a safety. Probably not good to run a counter towards O'Reilly's side at the 1-yard line.
Yeah, give him extra time to get up the field on top of running right towards his jersey.
I think this is an important lesson to be learned for current and future owners. You got to know who you're facing, and just because it worked last week doesn't mean it's going to work this week. As they run a stretch out of Haynes, he does manage to get away with 4. But what's been working for Queen City, it doesn't seem to be entirely effective against Louisville specifically.
And what, Louisville could have been playing a little bit of the possum there in the last couple games of the season. They knew they had it wrapped up.
Oh, a toss play. Safety. That is about the most bizarre. We've seen a lot of bizarre play calls tonight, but you're just giving Louisville points there.
And it goes back to us saying we just expected more from Queen City. This is normal for Louisville, especially at home. They are just so dominant, but Queen City is really, you got to bring your best game if you're going to beat this team. And if you bring your worst game, you have a game like this.
36-7, and I think the point differential in the last 3 games was 12, and this one is 29.
Oh, that goes back to what I was saying about playing possum a little bit. When you have the division in hand, they had the conference in hand. They knew that they were going to be in the playoffs. Maybe you take the pedal off the playbook a little bit at the end of the season. You're facing some of the lesser teams in the SFL, right, as far as records are concerned. And you go in here with a fresh new look, ready to go, maybe doing some things that they haven't seen in the last couple of weeks. So if you're Queen City and you're just studying the last couple games, it could be throwing you off.
When the fullback's getting 9 yards on a swing, that's a pretty good night.
Well, make no mistake, Queen City has shot themselves in the foot tonight.
They dropped numerous interceptions early. That pick 6 was horrible at the beginning, and they just really never recovered. Just no Shayatovic, no legacy, no spark from last season or from the early parts of this season. David Overstreet may be gone here. Inside the 25 down to the 21. He's got 128 yards and 99 yards of play.
Camper, you think of a tougher night for a commentary team than to have the game that we had in that first part of this series. So exciting, so much stuff happening, constantly on the field. to what is a dud of kind of a game here. Now, obviously, it's impressive to see Louisville flex their muscles, which they've done a lot this season. But man, you just got to kind of like hang your head for the Corsairs. This is no way for a champion to go out.
Yeah, it's good that this game was second. They may have lost some audience there if it would have been first. So you just never know with these games. I don't think people would have expected. I think people probably would have expected Queen City to play a little better tonight, and they probably didn't expect teams like Orlando and Minneapolis to play as well as they did.
Well, there's a lot of hype going into this game because of the underdog wins that took place. You know, for those guys that are still in the chat, guys and girls maybe, that are in the chat there, you know, we should do some type of prize to stick around. Maybe an autographed picture of Candy Moneyline?
Wow, I don't think anyone's going to stick around for that. Overstreet with the touchdown. So the route rolls on 42-7.
And Dallas is that noise that you're hearing is Dallas's coaching staff scrambling to try and figure out a way to stop what they've seen tonight. They've got a tough challenge ahead of them.
I don't know of a single person that will feel comfortable about picking any team other than Louisville to win the championship. I suppose maybe the Maulers are the second favorite at this point.
I would think so. I think that you can never underestimate the power of a T-Pack and what he can do with an offense. He's been there. And let's face it, you know, for all of Louisville's success, they don't have a championship.
Right.
And so we've seen this type of domination from them before. Maybe not on this level, but certainly impressive. And they've been beaten in the postseason. So it's just a matter of maybe luck. Luck happens. Good game planning. The best game of your life is probably what you're going to need if you're the Roughneck, who look to be their next opponent. But there could be some combination of fluke play. Well, something that just happens. Skeleton would be fun. God forbid a player gets hurt and that flips everything on its head.
You gotta watch out with this whole players getting hurt.
Yeah, well, I know that Lou Wolfpack will do what he must do, sacrifice whatever to what God that he praises in order to make sure that doesn't happen. Joe Boo or whatever, don't drink his whiskey. I know that.
23 carries, 76 yards for Haynes. They've tried to get him involved. It just hasn't worked.
Yeah, and maybe that's the way the team should attack Louisville. Maybe they just do it spiritual.
yeah.
Spiritual warfare first, and then play the game. But it can't be overstated, guys. This is Louisville at their best. I mean,
this is the best team since season 4 in the SFL.
And it's just, and you see why. I mean, if you go to the rankings, me and Cam, we went to the rankings, and as we were getting prepped for the show, and it's amazing if you go and look at the rankings, what Louisville has done this season. Number one in total offense. Number 3 in rushing offense. Number 4 in passing offense. Number 1 on third down conversions. Number 4 in scoring defense. Number 5 in total defense. Pass defense. Number 1. 3rd in sacks. 3rd in opponents' first downs. 5th in opponents' third downs. Where's the weakness, Cam? There isn't one on this team.
At least it hasn't shown itself yet. And with 5:09, they definitely have been all dominant tonight. Good pass earlier down the field for Garcia. Legacy with that catch. 2nd and 5, running no huddle now is a Queen City. 2 in the backfield, and they draw Michael Riley offside. Garcia hit as he threw. Nice catch from Jake Legacy, and Queen City's down at the 25-yard line.
Ken, we've talked about how successful Louisville has been since they've been in the SFL. That they just haven't had that luck in the playoffs. You know, they obviously have the team to win a championship. They've had ever since they joined the league, but they just for some reason haven't been able to get into that championship game and win it. But this looks to be their best chance yet.
Yeah, they've got as many losses in the postseason as they do in a regular season in 3 seasons. They got 2 regular season losses. I mean, they're 30-2 in the regular season, and they're 1-2 in the postseason, and that's just an anomaly that maybe Louisville answers this season. But it was just an anomaly. We just got unlucky, but really all this time we could have been the first true SFL dynasty. I'm not really sure you can call Queen City a dynasty just because safety didn't mean, the seconds they never repeated as a champion. They just didn't really feel like one. But with this Louisville team that is shot to be a dynasty, it didn't happen, but they have a chance to go out on top still.
Yeah, and I don't remember particularly. I mean, your memory is fantastic when it comes to this, Cam. So, thinking back about Louisville's loss in the postseason, was it just making mistakes themselves, or was it the other teams really stepping up against them?
Really, I mean, you go back to that Houston play against where he avoids the Rick O'Reilly sack and throws it to Dion Sim and does all of those fantastic things on that last play as that pass is incomplete. It's going to bring a 4th down and 1, by the way, for the Corsairs. When they were running no huddle offense, we weren't able to keep up with the down and distance. Nice knockdown by Jake Legacy, but it was that play, and then it was Overstreet going out really in the 4th quarter against the DC Dragons, and give DC all the credit in the world. They played a phenomenal second half, and Richard Snowden just went wild. Rest in peace. He had the game of his life in that second half. And so Louisville, a couple of times they had it, it just didn't fall their way, especially last year as that pass is knocked down and Queen City's not going to get any points out of this drive. But this year, I think it's gonna take something like that again, just something, some great play or great series of plays made by an opponent to knock this Wolfpack team off their pedestal, because arguably, Minneapolis went undefeated in season 4, but people will likely look at that team as a team that was an all-pass offense, that was something that was done before the sort of modern-day SFL rules were established about run-pass ratio. They were certainly one of the best teams, if not the best team in SFL history, bar none, as Collins or Pace actually with that carry as the backups are now in for Louisville. But the balance that Louisville shows, the star power that they show, the defense that they show, everything that they do is so terrific. I don't see how, at least, at this point, and especially if they win the title, that this squad is not the best in league history.
It's and again, bittersweet. This is their last season. If you're a newer owner or one that's coming in, you want to beat the SFL's best.
Wow, Jordan Smith just threw the backup quarterback just threw a dart.
You want to play the best, and you know what, Louisville does it the right way, Cam. They're not like overly passing maybe like Santa Fe has, or they're not like Dallas. They're not trying 4 wide receivers, they're just getting it done everywhere. I mean, they don't have like a abundance of talent in one area to try and overload defenses in a certain way or offenses in a certain way. They're just good everywhere. And I think that represents the best of what the SFL has to offer. Kind of sad that they're leaving.
It's amazing that this team is as good as they are, and no one's calling their plays. no one's touching them. No one's doing anything. That Louisville is going out there and getting the job done all on their own, and it's kind of mind-boggling that they execute as well as they do. Well, Funk does have, I think, 1 turnover tonight, but really, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and this should well, to go ahead and announce that there.
2-minute warning. We'll take a short break, but I don't care at this point. Go ahead, Steven.
Well, you know what? This really talks or speaks to consistency in the SFL. The Wolfpack have pretty much maintained the same kind of build throughout their entire time here. If I'm correct, Cam, you can confirm that or not.
Yeah, pretty similar.
And so I think it preaches to consistency in the sense that they've been building the playbook.
Wow. Look at this run by the backups. It's just incredible.
Wow. And this is the first team defense. They're just beat down. They're more tired than us.
Been on the field all night.
Yeah,
you know?
all night.
I mean,
but this really says, speaks a lot to keeping your team the same. You learn from season to season what works right in your build, and if you change your build every season, you've got to relearn that. You've got to relearn what plays in your playbooks work. Well, I think Lou Wolfpack here is really showing us what can happen with a team when you've got 3 consecutive seasons of consistently the same type of build, and you just keep learning and building your playbook.
Smithers completes another pass, so we don't often see backups in the game too much, but I'm venturing to say that Jordan Smithers has probably seen more action this season than any other backup quarterback in the league.
This might be the best second team offense in the league. I mean, honestly, this is maybe the deepest team in the league. If every one of their starters gets injured, they may still be competitive. That speaks to the playbook and the game.
Hands it off up the middle. Look at the seed parting. It's just unreal. 3rd and 1.
This is eye-opening right here.
This is just colossal beatdown, and I'm not sure. A lot of people will say, Queen City really had no business being in this game in the first place. 5-7. It's so hard to compete with Louisville in the first place. How is Queen City? How is a 5-7 team going to do it? I don't really think you can put too much. Not Queen City too much. They had a bit of a rough season trying to find themselves as that pass almost was caught. Good effort there by Armstrong, but that keeps one time out on the board for the Corsairs, and Louisville will have to punt it away. But yeah, I'm just tonight is all about Louisville and just what a great team they are.
Yeah, and they're got to be the overwhelming favorites going into next week, and it's going to be a big challenge for the Roughnecks, for whoever teams on this tear. I can't, it's hard to imagine any of the teams being able to match up if they play like this.
Well, what's interesting, and I wouldn't necessarily put we got a flag here on 4th down.
Holding
on Queen City. That pushes the ball on the 9. But now Queen City's getting holdings on punt returns, on a fair catch, no less. It's just been messed up tonight. Well, the interesting story here is that Orlando and Minneapolis. I know that back when Minneapolis was in the championship game and they were such a difficult team to prepare for, Orlando actually prepared weeks in advance with the hope that they had a shot at Minneapolis to take them down. It'll be interesting to see if either one of those teams decides, hey, maybe I need to start game planning for Louisville too and double up on my changes. Just in case, we're able to get to that big game, because it may take 2 weeks of changes to figure out how to stop this team.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. If you need to really try to change your philosophy because you think you see a weakness with what the Wolfpack do. Excuse me. Yeah, you may need both weeks. You may be planning. You don't never want to overlook an opponent, but you may be saying, I'm going to put some plays in here that I want to kind of carry through towards the next game.
It'll be really interesting if Dallas ended up winning the game.
Don't put that mojo on me, man.
I mean, realistically, I don't think Orlando or Minneapolis, they have too much to play for, and just a couple of weeks ago, we didn't think they were going to be in the playoffs. Orlando had to win and get losses from Los Angeles and Houston even to just get in the playoffs. And now all of a sudden they're in the conference championship game, I don't think realistically it's going to happen. But it's always interesting to think about as Queen City converts on 4th down.
Here's another thing we haven't talked about here, Cam, is the fact that Louisville has a distinct advantage when it comes to preparing for them. Because if you want to look at their last loss, you're going to have to go to last season to find out how a team beat them.
Right.
And who knows how much they've changed
Exactly.
since then.
Exactly.
It's almost, you just have to kind of see what kind of worked through the season for a short amount of time.
Yeah, I think you got to, and even at the beginning of the season, Overstreet really wasn't getting involved. They couldn't figure out how to get the run game going, and then they eventually did. So you really even can't look at the first few weeks of the season. I think you got to look at potentially Los Angeles played them close. They were coming from behind, but that game was a 7-point game. That was really the first game that Louisville's offense looked like they do now. Maybe there's something in there. Obviously, what Carolina did last week, figuring out something. And really, the distinct advantage that Louisville has is it's not about, okay, if I can just stop them, I'll be fine. Or if I can just score on them, I'll be fine. It really is both, as Jake Legacy is going to score a garbage touchdown here against the second-team defense. But it really is both sides of the ball. You have to specifically find out how to specifically, take advantage. And I don't really know that there's another team in the league where teams have to prep that hard for both sides.
And something that I've discovered is that sometimes you need to play in a way you don't have the personnel to play. And you try to, I think Carolina is a good example of that. You would think Johnny English would be their main guy, and they sometimes would try to get away from that and do things in the passing game. Hey, and Shane Varner. Varner, I apologize, Shane. Did great with what he had. There were some moments there that they were exceeding expectations of the abilities that their players had, but really trying to go. I'm just really speaking to just maybe you might have to do something you don't have the players to do against Louisville. And at a base level, you are who you are and who you chose to be at the very beginning of how you set up the build. And sometimes you just have to go with who you are and try your best.
Queen City's giving us some comic relief here. 39 seconds to go. Going to the outside. Pretty much going to end the ball game as the 4 series have no timeouts left. Thank goodness. But yeah, 43-14 is going to be the final tonight. We did not get a 4-for-4 special in a dramatic playoff games, but I would say as a whole, a tremendous first week of the SFL playoffs, and I was happy to have you along here. I hope our mics were at least a little better than they were yesterday, because I listened back and I didn't sound too good. Steven sounded good, but I sounded like I was in a hot air balloon. But yeah, we enjoyed ourselves, and we hope you did as well. And now we just got to gear up for Louisville, Dallas, and Orlando, Minneapolis on Tuesday, the last 4 standing.
Yeah, and it looks like it's what we're here for. It's what we've played all these games for. This is the culmination of that, and we've been seeing even through this game. There are aspects of it, especially with Louisville's dominance and how they've just been able to show everybody how to do it right and do it the right way. We've seen some great. We've seen the best of the SFL has to offer. I don't expect anything less next week.
All 3 teams in the playoffs that are playing their last season won in week 1. They are not done yet, and they are not ready to give it up. The Dallas Roughnecks, that lone team looking to play spoiler. But final analysis here as we scroll through the final stats, and a dominant Louisville victory.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that still screams to me, Cam, is time of possession is near equal for both of these teams. And what that really says is that one team came to play and one didn't. They didn't have anything tonight. Queen City, nothing worked for them. Even when they did score, it was shaky. They were just outplayed. but not outclassed. A quality franchise. They won last season. This is their typical thing, right? Win one season, out the next.
Right.
Win one season, out. And so I expect greatness from them next season. They'll come. They figured out how to use hands during the second half of the season. Maybe they turn that to what they are when they start next season. But Louisville dominant. It's going to be a tough game to out.
They'll come roaring back, and Louisville obviously heavy favorites. I mean, just for Dallas to even come into the game and compete, I think would surprise some people. It's certainly such a tall task, and I think the focus next week will be on Orlando and Minneapolis, and just what a tremendous matchup that's going to be, and it couldn't have happened to two really nicer guys,
Absolutely. And you know what, Cam? Let's not undersell it. If we were going into this week, in these last 2 days, we might have earmarked a couple of those games to think, well, that could be potentially very competitive. So there's a lot of unknown. We'll probably know in the Dallas game in the first quarter. I would imagine that could be. We would know if we're competitive or not. But that's the thing that you love about these games. That's why these guys watch. That's why we do what we do. Is because you never know. And it could be any given Sunday with these guys.
David Overstreet had 15 carries tonight. Almost 10 yards a carry. Doesn't matter how many times he gets the ball. Doesn't matter how long Louisville's on the field. Doesn't matter. Louisville dominant once again. Final score, Queen City 14, Louisville 43. 4 playoff games in 2 days. We did it, folks. For Stephen Mullinex, I'm Kevin Irvine. You see things here in the SFL. Just don't see anywhere else. Hashtag the drama is real. We're back on the air Tuesday. It's the Final Four. Trim to 2. Good night, everybody.